this topic, and this really goes out to the families from addiction. Stephen, I'm going to give this one to start you off with this. For a family, parents, what are some of the signs and symptoms they should look for if they feel that they might have a child in addiction? What are some of the things to look for?
Now this is a little tricky because signs and symptoms will differ depending on the substance you're using, you know, but definitely aside from like the direct symptoms of the substance, loss of interest in things that you once loved, change of friends, attitudes, sleeping schedules, eating habits, all that stuff. I mean, just because you change your eating habits, so it doesn't mean that your kid's using, obviously, but these are all little red flags.
Would you say that also goes, same thing for like depression, anxiety, some of this kind of like in the same network?
Of course. I mean, just like he was saying before, mental illness and substance and drug addiction are one and the same. It like you said also, is one of the most overlooked things in the country. Like, even aside from drug addiction, people talk about, oh, there's a gun problem. No, there's an untreated mental illness epidemic in this country that nobody's addressing. That's the problem. And it goes hand in hand with drug use. So a lot of the symptoms are very, very similar. But when it comes down to actually using the drug, you know, it depends. Like I said, depending on the drug, it could be red eyes, it could be dilated pupils, it could be nodding out. And a lot of people don't know this, but nodding out is early signs of an overdose. It could be, you know, being wired or anxious, or there's so many different things. And it's like I said, it's all dependent on what substance you're using. But you know, if you have a feeling that your kid's using drugs, he probably is. He probably, or she probably is. You know, like if you have that gut feeling, I just suggest to any viewer out there, follow it. And you know, that's my greatest advice. Follow your parental instinct.
Well, why don't you expand on that, and then I have another theory that I think might go hand in hand with this.
Okay. So you see physical, well, all the things Steve just said. You see physical, you see money missing, you see sleeping late, sleep patterns. There's a million signs, and on any internet site you can find all the signs, right? But the key is, whatever those signs are, if you think it, you smell it, you just get a sense of it, react and do something. Talk to them. If you can't talk to them, look up. There's a million sites, there's a million ways to get information. So if you're seeing things that just don't seem right, the big thing is some change, right? You're seeing some change, whether it's divorce or whether it's fighting, you know, in that household, or whether it's pressure from school or grades or whatever it is, peer pressure, bullying, whatever it is. Make sure that you don't put your head in the sand. If you're seeing those changes, go find some help. Go look. If you don't want to, if you're too embarrassed to go to a place or to go to your facility or go to a school meeting about it, go on the internet and learn. Look at some of the resources that we're putting out, that you're putting out, that you're talking about. There's so many things there that you can find. Keep your head out of the sand. If you see a change, there's probably some reason for it, and investigate it and try and save your family.
There's no shame in asking for help. The only shame is needing help and not asking for it. That's what communities are for. Communities are there to help each other because we're a community. It's like if you look at like Lido Boulevard, for example, right? You can't look at it as a bunch of houses on Lido Boulevard. No, we are Lido Boulevard. You know what I mean? So in a community sense, like, we are one. We are a community. We are here to help each other. That's what communities are for. And it's never too early. It's never too late to ask for help.
You know, just expanding on this, Andrew, and you deal with so many families, we all deal with families. One of the things I've always been a strong proponent of is that kid going to school, middle school, high school, it's so vital that that kid gets involved in extracurricular activities, whether it's sports, whether it's music, whether it's drama, whether it's debate club, whether it's environmental club, something. Because to me, the kid that does not get involved in anything comes home from school and he's more times than not is going to get involved in trouble. Hang out with the wrong people, have no focus, have no discipline, and to me, it's a recipe of disaster.
Well, you're absolutely right about that, and I think what people that are suffering from drug and alcohol problems experience as the disease progresses is that their whole life is organized around chasing the drug. You know, there's a charge to seeking it, to making the deal, to meeting the person, driving into the city, going to a dangerous area, procuring the drugs, finding the money, stealing it, whatever it is, everything is organized around that. Now, if someone is involved in sports or clubs, music, you name it, certainly being engaged in activities with other people, having a sense of belonging, feeling, a sense of competence in something that you're doing makes all the difference. I mean, addiction is a disease of isolation. You don't attach to other people, you attach to the substance. But, it's not as easy as if you join a team or if you play in the band or if you're on the debate team, that means that you won't get involved in drugs or alcohol, because there's lots of kids that are a part of all those activities that get involved in that as well. But I think certainly having those activities, whether it's something that prevents some kids or later when someone goes through recovery, gives them a chance to connect with other people and feel a sense of belonging and not having to just chase the drug, but, chase those relationships and think about what am I going to do with my friends, or where, what team are we going to play against next week, or what are we going to perform as a band. I mean, the value there is immeasurable. So that should be a part of it, but it doesn't mean that if you're doing that you're going to necessarily prevent becoming involved in drugs.
Talking about that, about kids getting involved in some type of activity.
Yeah, I mean, it's very necessary to replace. I mean, if we're talking about early before they use, it's very necessary to be involved in extracurricular activities. You know what I mean? But you also have to be careful. Like before I started drinking and drugging, I was very involved in wrestling, right? And it was my first addiction. It was me escaping reality. Only thing that I cared about was progressing in this, doing this more and more and more. There's no off season. This, and my whole life became consumed. And I quit a week before county championships because I really just wanted to go get high and party with my friends. You know what I mean? And it was my senior year. I wrestled for 8 years, and it's something that it's actually, if I regret anything in my life, that's the only thing I really regret in my life. And the reason I say that, I know I've done a lot of bad things, but everything I've done has brought me to the place that I'm at today. You know what I mean? But it's very important to get involved in things that you love, the things that you want to do, the things that bring you joy, because a lot of people do drink and drug because really there's nothing better to do in their head, you know what I mean? But there's nothing going on, like let's smoke some weed, you know what I mean? Let's drink beer tonight, or let's do this, let's do that. And if they had that, or had something to actually do, it can be very impactful in preventative measures.
Next thing I want to get involved in